So September 15th, 1988 was the day that we opened Just Stitching. This is our anniversary, 32 years. And I found this photo that I don't remember ever seeing before. So this was the very first strip mall that we were in, and we were behind the Hartstead shop. So she was a gift shop. She had handmade things and coffee and gourmet food, that sort of thing. So she had the front and we had the back. And the way we met was I worked at Joann Fabrics with my partner, Janice. She was my partner for 8 years. And I was in graduate school, and she was a mom whose kids were like preteen age, old enough to be able to stay alone after school for a little bit while she worked. So she had gotten her first part-time job since she got married. And Kim used to come in buying fabric and other supplies to do her handmade crafts. And she was looking to move from a little tiny store to a better location in the center of town where she'd get more traffic, but she couldn't afford it. So anyway, it kind of all fell into place, and we were able to share that space with her. We had our own office, we shared a bathroom, and then we had a classroom. And this was our very first flyer. And although it was against corporate policy for us to be able to put this up in our Joann Fabrics, our manager was kind enough to allow us to slip them into any customer's bag that was buying embroidery floss. That's how they got around it. So we probably passed that out for a couple months before we opened. And then this was our first official newsletter. And we had gotten people's names from Joann Fabrics, and then of course had a clipboard on the front counter and took people's names as they came in. But it wasn't until a little bit later that we actually had a full-fledged mailing list. And we grew to this format of a newsletter. It was all cut and paste with clip art. So nobody else in our area was doing a newsletter like this at the time. There were a bunch of needlework stores that kind of opened up all at the same time, coincidentally. And we didn't want to copy anybody else's idea. So this was our format for quite a while. And I know there's photos of our first week of business, or at least our first UPS shipment and that sort of thing before we opened. And I can't find them right now. So I'm hoping by the end of the week when I finish up this video that I will have some more photos. I did find some, but based on the hairstyle and the time of year and what we were wearing, it was not our opening and wasn't even possibly the same year. So anyway, I'm going to show a few photos, but these are later when we had filled out our inventory a little bit more, but it was still the same location. So this was a hutch right here that Janice's husband built to exactly match a hutch that Kim's husband had made. And they were actually back to back, and that kind of made the divider for our part of the space. And then we also had a cube built out of pegboard, which was really convenient for hanging things on. And recognize any of those products from way back when? Remember the Adam Original stockings for the Prairie Schooler Santas? They still make those, but you don't see them as often. So, and then this is a photo that had some borrowed models that had to do with our area. So there's Oberlin Samplers Cleveland, and we had them do Strongsville for us. So when they do a custom design, you take all the photos, and then I think we had to order 75 charts to start with for them to do that work. And then of course there's some Sue Hillis designs for Ohio. This was Ohio Transportation, and then the regular Ohio map. And then we had a local person that was designing the historic Strongsville Buildings, and she wasn't in business for very long, but she was an employee of Kim's. And then the ornaments on the bottom were from another local person that used to do craft shows, but she also sold the charts for her designs. So it was fun having a wall of models that were, you know, special to our area. Okay, more to come. Okay, so I wanted to show you our logo and talk about its origin. And the vinyl lettering on our front window is the biggest image, so that's where I'm standing right now. Janice's teenage son had graphed this out, and then we had a friend of the family who was in school for something in the graphic arts field, I believe, and she cleaned it up and made it be something that we could use for professional things like business cards and newspaper ads, etc. So the J, of course, is for Janice, and the S is for Shelley. And then we wanted to show that we were cross-stitched, so we made the G go into the eye of the needle, and we put X's over the eyes, and we thought that made it very clear that it was cross-stitch. But honestly, 32 years later, we still have people walking in asking if we do alterations or sew patches on scout uniforms, or if we sell yarn. So they'll come in and ask about anything, but I thought it was really clever. And although there were other businesses over the years that also had just stitching or just stitch in with an apostrophe at the end, I still liked ours because it had meaning behind it. So there you go, the history of our logo. See you tomorrow. So I don't know when you all started stitching or if you would remember this, but stitching with waste canvas was a really big deal back in the 80s and maybe into the mid 90s. And when I was going through our notebooks of memorabilia, I found this handmade sale flyer from 1992. And apparently that year in May, it was an entire theme for the month. So we had a sale called the Wear It Out sale, just a play on words. And the sale items included anything that was considered a wearable. So waste canvas supplies, duplicate stitch books and sweaters, bibs, men's hats, the sportsman caps, that sort of thing. And then we taught classes on how to use waste canvas. And then there was a day where we encouraged customers to come in, and we took their photos wearing something that they had stitched with waste canvas, and their pictures were put on a bulletin board for the rest of the month, and then their names were entered in a drawing. I think it was just a $10 gift certificate back then, but at the end of the month somebody won a gift certificate for just, you know, going the extra mile and letting us take their picture. So anyway, I thought it was fun to see the old-fashioned looking flyer and also to find the photos. Now these photos are not necessarily from 1992 because we did this at least 3 times that I could find, and I'm sorry to say I did not take these photos. A lot of them were blurry and none of them were marked, but I found lists of the customers in another place, so these may not be from the same year. And some of the entries were worn by children, and so I'm not showing those. I know they're grown now, but still, it was somebody's child, so I'm not going to show those. But here are some. This is Betsy, and she won one of the years. Maybe it was the year she wore the jack-o'-lantern. And then this is her mom, Betty, and she was a beautiful stitcher and stitched some of our shop models back in the day. This is Margie. And her mother, Dwayne, was also a stitcher and attended our Tuesday night stitch group for many years. And then I'm sorry, there's a few that I just don't recognize who they are. This lady did a lot of work putting the hearts all over the sweatshirt, including the sleeve. And here's a cute sweatshirt. That was a lot of stitching. But I saved the most impressive one for last. Not only did Jean do the front of her sweatshirt, but she did up and down the sleeves and the legs of her sweatpants. So that was a lot of stitching, and she had a lot of fun wearing that. So my vintage stitch for this week's video, of course, also has to be waste canvas. And this is a Patchwork Santa from a Leisure Arts book. And the buttons are probably a combination of mine and my grandmother's sewing box contributions. But I am really impressed with how well this stood the test of time, considering how many times it was worn and obviously had to be washed every now and again. So I'm sure I wore it for stitch groups and family parties and get-togethers and Christmas photos. And I also wore it to work, I'm sure, a lot, because of course it made a good walking advertisement for supplies that we sold. So I'll have to wear it this year now that I got it out and ironed it. But I was really impressed with how well it held up over the years. So thanks for watching. Bye. The precursor to our current Friday Fun Nights, and also probably the precursor to the modern day Stitch Along, was something called the Black Sheep Club, I think. It was a series of kits designed by the ladies at U&I and Friends, EWE and Friends, and they called it Black Sheep, a play on the company name. And we took names and pre-ordered these kits that were exclusive at the time to people in the club. And then shop owners were encouraged to have an evening where stitchers gathered and maybe had some refreshments and earned some door prizes and stitched on a project. And so I got a big kick out of reading this very first newsletter that I found in our files. And if you don't mind, I'm going to share it with you. So this was Black Sheep Bulletin, dated November 1995. Our first Black Sheep Night was held on Friday, October 6th, and 16 enthusiastic participants arrived to the sounds of spooky music and the smell of hot spiked apple cider. We could spike it because it was after hours. Everyone received a skein of black DMC embroidery floss for wearing something black, and did they ever struggle to find black in their outfits? We gave credit for shoelaces, purse straps, and minuscule threads in a multicolored shirt, etc. Kate Fulton received the Scaredy Cat kit with the hidden black cat sticker, and that earned her Heart and Hands Pumpkins 3 from the Wee One series. The Halloween movie matching game was won by Val Woods, although she claimed to be a lucky guesser, and she received U&I and Friends Horrible Hag chart. We overlooked the friendly cheating on the Scrambled Designer's Name game. It was hard to resist looking at the book racks for clues, and gave Chris Stock a Halloween button pin for having the most correct answers. Brains were taxed further when we asked everyone to see how many words they could form from the title Black Sheep Night. Debbie Breck was the uncontested winner with 135 plus words, including kitchen and penis. Well, she is a nurse. She took home a Mill Hill ceramic black sheep button for her efforts. All names of party attendees were in a drawing for a $5 gift certificate towards the purchase of the next Black Sheep Night project, and we'll be happy to redeem that for Leanne Lang. Refreshments were served, and we sang happy birthday to Carol Gilliland, There was also shopping, imagine that, and a little bit of stitching going on, and talking. But the big event of the evening was the Cleveland Indians winning the American League Division playoffs. Several diehard fans, Carol Belkey, Marcy Collada, Lisa Mans, stayed with Shelley until the game ended at 11:45 p.m. Thanks to Janice for bringing her black and white television set. And then I provided the recipes for the snacks that we served. And this was the flyer for the project in December. So the last page says, December's exclusive design, Berry Deer, is a reindeer stitched on 26-count dirty linen with anchor floss and the Gentle Art sampler threads. Specialty stitches include Smyrna Cross, Double Leviathan, Satin Stitch, and French knots, blah, blah, blah. So it says how to reserve your space for the next one, and then what to bring in order to be entered in a drawing for that month, and then the date and the time and everything. And I wanted to mention that the gals at You and I and Friends, I think it was Cam and Barb, they were known for including specialty stitches in their projects. They even invented some stitches of their own that made some really pretty flowers. And they also, I think, were the first ones to consistently stitch with one strand of floss on 32 count. So there you go. I think I'm going to put a picture of my Berry Deer after this. Okay. Okay, it's giveaway time. And the random number generator chose Laura Williams to receive Sweet Summer Come Again from Blackbird Designs. So let me know if you're going to come get it or if you want it mailed to you. And this week, because of our 32nd anniversary, I'm going to give a gift certificate. Let's see, if I hold it here long enough, do you think this would be the thumbnail? Oh wait, no, not the neck. Don't show the neck though. Okay, never mind. So we're going to do a gift certificate for $32, and you can use it on anything that we normally carry in the store, even if it has to be ordered for you. We ask that you redeem it within a year. Not normally a problem. Usually people do it within the month. And what I would like you to say in the comments is what you would like 32 of. I would not be opposed to 32 chocolate chip cookies with pecans. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Have a great week. Thanks for watching.